Hello everyone, welcome to the first webinar of the new school year 2020. We are pleased to have with us today the two special guests, Ms. Inkeri Mentzoni, partner and director of HEI Schools, Helsinki, Finland, Mr. Tony Blacklock, executive principal of ILO Academy. To get ready for the workshop, you can find a comfortable seat with good internet connection. During the workshop, we ask for permission to mute your microphone. You can use earphones for better sound quality. If you have any questions or need help, please type directly to the chat box. Our workshop will start in 5 minutes. Good morning, this is Injun and welcome all of you to the first webinar for this new school year. So schools have officially resumed since mid-February and I trust all of us are excited. The seventh session of our workshop series named ILO Academy Educational Journey will take place on Zoom and Facebook Live applications. I'm pleased to talk with you and the two speakers today. And our topic today is finish early childhood education, the beginning foundation for a happy future. Therefore, we especially invite Ms. Inkeri Mentzoni, partner and director of HEI Schools coming from HEI Schools, Finland, to share with us about the excitement and outstanding values of finished early childhood education and the lifelong benefits of this educational foundation brings to our children. Hello, Ms. Inkeri Mentzoni.
Hello, so nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, could you please introduce yourself a little bit to our attendees today?
Yes, so my name is Inkeri Mentzoni, and I'm the director and partner at HEI Schools. I am in charge of our global partnerships. So I have the great pleasure of getting to know so many educators, so many schools, and so many families around the world. And it's amazing to see how education is something that interests all of us and really ties us together. I'm also a mother of a 12-year-old son, and he went to preschool both in the US and in Finland. So I know the benefits of the Finnish preschool system as a mom as well.
Thank you, Ms. Inkeri, beautiful. And today's workshop is also attended by Mr. Tony Blacklock, our executive principal of ILO Academy. We are honored to present with you here. And hello, Mr. Tony.
Hi, good afternoon, and I'm really delighted to be participating in today's webinar.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, Finnish preschool education is still a relatively new concept in Vietnam. However, in recent years, Finnish education has received great attention from parents when choosing the first school for their children. When it comes to the top 3 countries with the best education system in the world, Finland is the first one. How will Vietnamese students take benefits from this education module in the future? In order to give you a deeper look at Finnish education, ILO Academy introduces the workshop Finnish Early Childhood Education, the beginning foundation for a happy future. So my first question would be for Mr. Inkeri. From 2020-22, ILO Academy is honored to officially have HEI Schools accompanied as an academic partner, applying the quintessence of Finnish education in our educational program. So, Ms. Inkeri, can you please introduce a little bit more to the parents about HEI?
Yes, thank you. HEI Schools was founded in 2015, and really HEI Schools was founded to export the Finnish early education model to other countries. The Finnish school system is based on a public school system. So traditionally, we have never had private companies doing education. But as the Finnish system became quite known in the world, we had a lot of visitors coming to Finland and inquiring about the system and asking how can we also apply this. And that's when HEI Schools was founded. The Helsinki University is one of our founding partners, and they have been with us since the beginning.
Okay. So the question goes on, why is HEI Schools one of the world's leading early childhood educational models, Ms. Inkeri?
Well, yes, I think what makes us a leading company in this field is the fact that we have the university as our founding partner, and that directly links us to the research that's done in Finland and of course around the world around early childhood education. Also, Professor Lipponen, who is a professor at the Faculty of Education at the university, he's also our founding partner, and that even further strengthens the relationship with the research. What's also special about the company and what makes us truly Finnish and experts on this is the fact that our curriculum, our training, and all of our support is developed by Finnish early education teachers who have been trained in the university and have master's degrees in early childhood education.
Okay, I see. So what achievements exactly did HEI Schools have, and how is HEI's coverage on the global education map?
Well, currently we have 18 HEI Schools branded kindergartens around the world on different continents, and we have about close to 15 projects on the way. So there will be quite a few more HEI Schools kindergartens around the world. We have about 150 schools who are applying our curriculum and over 2,000 teachers who have been trained by us or are using our materials. So we're definitely expanding our presence in the world.
Okay. So what is special about the curriculum of HEI School that make it the leading school for kindergarten worldwide?
Well, what is special about the curriculum is of course, the research-based foundation. So it's not something we just invented. It's really invented and it's developed based on all the research on how children learn and what's the most effective way of teaching them. So that's definitely a very special link to us. Also, it's obviously the play-based nature of the learning. So the research proves that play-based learning is the most effective way for children to learn. And that's exactly why, obviously, our curriculum is based on that. In our curriculum, we also have inquiry-based learning. So that is something that really strengthens children's ability to wonder the world, ask questions, and learn effectively. And then last but not least is, of course, the social-emotional learning and the future skills. So children will need good communication skills. They need good socio-emotional skills in order to succeed in the world. So it's about combining the academics with those future skills that are socio-emotional competence, communication, cooperation, and so forth.
Thank you very much for the very interesting answer. And to the audiences, stay tuned, and we'll be back after 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with our webinar today with ILO Academy, named Finish Early Childhood Education, the Beginning Foundation for a Happy Future. And we are talking to Ms. Inkeri Mentzoni, partner and director of HEI Schools from Finland, and Mr. Tony Blacklock, executive principal of ILO Academy. Okay, so I see that with the methodology, the place-based learning and the inquiry-based will help the children to learn in a way that is natural for them, right? But and what more benefit does the Finnish educational method bring to children? Can you share with us more?
Yes, so I think one of the you mentioned the happiness, and what that means to us is that children can learn without stress, because play is natural for them. It's natural for them to play. And as the curriculum and the learning is around play, that means that there is no additional stress put on the children. And that also then obviously can lead to happiness. Also the fact that the play-based learning also emphasizes problem solving and creativity. There's no right or wrong answer to things. And that really encourages children to test and try out different things that boost their self-confidence in their ability to create new things and solve problems. And I think that ability to trust in your own ability to resolve problems and find new solutions, that really creates strong, happy children who can innovate new things in the future as well.
Okay, so how does it help for later level? This is for kindergarten only. So is the happiness that you mentioned help children in an upper level of them in their educational journey?
Well, I think, problem solving is a skill you need to learn anyway, regardless, and it's better to try to start learning problem solving already at a young age. So I think the happiness is just the end result that comes from this type of learning. And that way, all the skills that the children are practicing when they follow this kind of a play-based method, they also help them in the future.
Okay, I see. Very clear. So one of the highlights of the Finnish educational method is the play-based learning method. What is the different impact between the traditional way and the play-based learning method?
Well, I think when we talk about traditional, I think oftentimes that it means that it's more teacher-led. Teacher gives instructions and the children do what the teacher tells. It's maybe working with books and pencil. It's often thought about in that kind of a context, this traditional learning. And the research says that that's not the most effective way for children to learn. So that's exactly the reason why the play-based, because the research has shown that instead of this type of a very teacher-directed right or wrong type of answer finding and way of working is not producing the best academic results or learning results in general. And that's why the play-based enters the picture, because the research has then found out that when children get to play, they get to do things at their own pace with their peers, the learning happens automatically and very efficiently. And I think as parents, you can think of a moment when you're very into something you're doing, you're very into what we would call a flow as adults. You're very into something what you enjoy. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like something you really want to do, and you really probably learn a lot about that topic, whatever that is. And that's exactly that kind of a flow is what play is for children.
Interesting. So Mr. Tony, do you want to share more about this thing, the difference between traditional way and the modern way, the play-based learning method that we have mentioned?
Yes, following on from what Inkeri has already said, I mean, I would also ask what is meant by the traditional way of learning, as the curriculum models have changed so much over the last 20 years, mainly driven by research, but also by educational fashions. But if we consider traditional teaching, again, as Inkeri said, to mean teacher-devised and teacher-led activities, children sitting at desks in rows with textbooks as their primary resource, then playful learning really is very different. Playful learning is transversal. It develops several skills and areas of learning at the same time. And, having fun doesn't mean that children would not learn, but it's exactly the opposite, as Inkeri's already mentioned in the research. Playfulness promotes learning and is a natural way for children to absorb new information.
Thank you, Tony. So what specific benefits will play-based learning bring to preschool children?
Well, again, Inkeri has already mentioned on about how children are naturally motivated to play. The play-based program builds on this motivation, using play as a context for learning. In this context, children can explore, experiment, discover, and solve problems in imaginative and playful ways. The daily activities at our kindergarten help children learn transversal skills like empathy and compassion, creative thinking, teamwork, problem solving, self-expression, multiliteracy, and independence. These abilities support the children's development as lifelong learners who are independent and respectful of themselves and others. But what I really like about the HEI curriculum at ILO, and something that is not often found in traditional teaching, is the Finnish concept of sisu, which means having the courage to move forward when things get tough, which I think is incredibly important during these difficult times. We help children discover their own sense of sisu or resilience by teaching them how to think for themselves, learn to love learning, solve problems, express how they feel, and value their own opinion.
Thank you so much. It's interesting to know the notion of tissue, which you defined by resilience. And I would like to return to Ms. Inkeri. You mentioned happy education. This is a concept that brings a lot of positive energy, right? So what is happy education and how important is it for preschool children?
Yes, I think happy also in this context means what we would call like positive pedagogy. And what that means, that type of positive pedagogy, is that the teachers focuses on noticing each individual child's strengths and also uses positive encouragement for trying out new things and for developing that sisu, that resilience Tony just talked about. So it's basically, you know, we're not trying to force somebody to be happy, but we're basically trying to apply methods, educational methods, pedagogy, that the outcome of that is happy children. And definitely research again here is the foundation for this type of positive pedagogy, by noticing the good in every child and by encouraging them and emphasizing the good produces better learning outcome. And it also helps the child to develop a healthy, strong self-esteem. That's very important for their own well-being and mental health.
Okay, so I'm not sure if it is relevant or this is related to the lifelong learning passion. Would you please clarify more?
Yes, that's a good question about the lifelong learning. That is a term we all hear a lot nowadays. And in the Finnish context, lifelong learning means a couple of different things. First of all, it really means that nobody is ready with their learning ever. So it means that we all have to have this attitude that every day of our learning or every day of our life will be a learning moment. And then by making learning enjoyable and fun for the kids, of course, that motivates them to see learning as something that they like to do. It's not something they have to do, but they actually enjoy doing it. So I would say that's how the Finnish pedagogy supports the lifelong learning, because we show to the children that, hey, you can learn, you're able to learn, you can develop this sisu for learning, this resilience for learning, and at the end of the day, it's enjoyable to you.
I really agree that the importance of happy education, one of the importances is it leads to the lifelong learning passion, right? So happy education always includes happy teacher and happy students, right? So we know that as you just share, there's considerable importance of the teachers, preschool teachers, in applying the above model of excellence education to the students. So can you share a little bit more about it?
Yes, of course, the teacher's role is hugely important, because the curriculum in a way is only as good as the teachers who are then implementing it. So teacher training is a very big part of the Finnish early education, and that's something I know ILO is putting a lot of emphasis as well, and we're helping Tony's team. And basically what happens is that the teachers have to have a very strong knowledge of how children learn. And when they understand already that foundation, they can start understanding, why are we applying certain kinds of methods? Why is the curriculum built in a certain way? And by teachers having this understanding, then they can also deliver this type of positive, happy pedagogy, as I talked about, because they understand the deeper mechanism of learning, and that really helps them to then also support the child.
Okay, so we know it's very important. I mean, the roles of the teachers, but how can we monitor the learning and the student progress? I would like to yes, to ask Ms. Inkeri and Mr. Tony too. Ms. Inkeri, please go first.
Yes, so I think there's whenever Finnish education is talked about, there is often this kind of a mentioning that, oh, there's no testing in Finland and no exams, and that's not true. We have an assessment system already in our preschool curriculum, and it's based on the Finnish early childhood assessment system. And what I think makes it different from many other assessment systems is the fact that it looks at the whole child. So it doesn't only look at the academic subjects like mathematics or English, but it looks at the child as a whole. It looks at their cognitive development, their physical development, their socio-emotional skills, their ability to express creativity. And it's really, I think, a positive, in a way, you're looking at understanding that the child is more than just one single math skill. We also offer in our curriculum what we call a child's follow-up tool, where you develop a plan for each individual child so that they can really bloom and basically really come to their best.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Inkeri. How about Mr. Tony? What would you like to share more about this?
Well, in practical terms, we use tools that are inbuilt to the HEI Teacher Toolkit. We create a child's individual plan for each child, and it serves as a dialogue between our teachers and parents and how we can work together to help recognize the full potential. We also have a child's portfolio, which showcases the child's experiences and interests and development during the time at our campus. And as Inkeri has already mentioned, we have the follow-up tool, which allows us to record learning objectives and to map the child's progress against age-related expectations.
So Finnish educational curriculum do require a lot from teachers to be able to teach students by this curriculum. So what skills do ILO Academy teachers need to be equipped with?
Well, first and foremost, Ms. Ing, we ask that all of our adults at ILO must have a love of children and a love for the children in their care. Of utmost importance to us is that our students feel safe, happy, and cared for when they are at our campuses. And of course, all of our teachers, both local and international, have the requisite qualifications to degree level. As Inkeri has already mentioned, they are knowledgeable about the latest early childhood education developments and research. But we also ask our teachers to be imaginative and fun and innovative. And also, as we mentioned earlier, to have their own sense of sisu.
Okay, thank you. So back to Ms. Inkeri. We hear a lot of this sentence. It takes a village to raise a child, right? So how do the parents in Finland teach their children? What is the importance of school-parent connection in Finland's education model?
Yes, I think there's multiple aspects to that one. First of all, I would say that what makes Finland quite special is that parents have a high level of trust on the teachers, and that's, I think, our history and heritage on the teacher training, that we really, as parents, we value the teachers. We know that they have their training, and we trust their ability and their methods to educate our children at school and at kindergarten. So that's, I think, one important part of the Finnish system. Then it's also like this understanding that learning happens everywhere all the time. And that's one of our cornerstones in our philosophy, that Learning is not something that takes place between 9 and 10 a.m. when you have a math class. Learning happens all the time when a child or an adult is living their life and exploring their surroundings. So as parents, just to have the appreciation for the fact that, for example, if I decide to bake bread or I decide to do gardening with my child, it's a fun learning moment for my child. I don't need to really particularly teach anything, but as long as I'm just engaged in the activity and doing things with my child and explaining what's happening, answering to their questions, I'm actually enhancing my child's learning. So I think those are the things the Finnish parents think a lot, or it comes quite natural to us.
Yeah, I agree. Learning happens all the time, everywhere, right? And parents in Finland, they have a high level of trust in their education system first, and the second, they understand. But how about in Vietnam, Mr. Tony? What about ILO Academy parents? What parents need to do to accompany and connect with the school to coordinate their children's education in a seamless way, to have children not be disappointed when they learn at school and at home differently?
I feel it's very important to reiterate what Inkeri has just said, that the homeschool partnership is one of the most important aspects of a child's education. Establishing a warm and trusting and respectful relationship between parents and teachers will help ensure that the children enjoy support and positive outcomes both at home and at school. In terms of helping us here at ILO, it would be a benefit. We would ask if parents possibly could research more about what Finnish early education actually is in terms of their knowledge and understanding. And also, of course, that the parents who do join us on the educational journey for their children support what we are trying to do here at ILO Academy. We would also, as an example of today, like to support our parents with providing educational workshops and on-campus meetings for further information to provide for our parents. And we also would like to ensure that effective and efficient and regular communication happens at all times between teachers and parents. And as an important part of this, a very, very important part of this, are the daily encounters that our teachers have with parents, both at the beginning and at the end of the day, where they have a chance to stop and chat with parents in these informal situations. They are very, very important for that homeschool relationship. And of course, we will have more formal parent-teacher meetings, times of academic reports, and I think again that all of these added together would help to build this very, very important homeschool relationship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tony and Ms. Inkeri. Thank you very much for the very interesting and useful sharing from you too. And now I would like to move to the Q&A session. And there's a lot of questions awaiting for us from our parents here of the ILO Academy of our 4 campuses in Ho Chi Minh City. Chúng ta đến với câu hỏi đầu tiên. Học theo cách chơi suốt ngày, làm sao con tôi vào lớp 1, làm sao trẻ có thói quen học? Come to the first question. With the educational method mainly focusing on playing all day, how do our children have the habit of learning to adapt to the first grade environment? Okay, so this question I would like to hear the answer from Mr. Tony.
Well, actually, I would say, on the contrary, Ms. Ng, at ILO, we understand how important the final year at kindy is in preparing the children for their transition to grade 1 in primary school. This is also understood and provided for in the HEI curriculum, which includes pre-primary content. This content specifically focuses on the language, reading, and math skills needed to build a foundation for grade 1. It also supports the children's emotional skills and competencies in managing the transition to the primary school environment. And as part of this, we are developing links with international, bilingual and local primary schools in Ho Chi Minh City to support with our students' transition program by enabling them to experience primary school life in a range of schools in a fun and exciting way.
Okay, thank you, Sunny. I hope this have answered the question of the parents. Một câu hỏi khác. Tôi thấy không ai thành công mà không nỗ lực rèn luyện gì cả, trong khi giáo dục Phần Lan lại dạy ít mà chơi nhiều như vậy, làm sao để con đạt được kết quả? And let's move to another question from the parents of ILO Tân Định. I don't see anyone succeeding without trying hard, while Finnish education teaches a little but play a lot. So how do our children get results? I'd like to invite Ms. Inkeri to answer this question.
Yes, well, exactly similar to what Tony just said. It's important to understand that the play-based, the play-based Finnish education is a method to teach children. It's basically how children learn and how it's the most effective way to teach them. What they learn can then be, for example, localized, and it can be full of learning objectives. And in our package, what we offer to our partner schools, we offer a huge number of playful activities that the teacher will conduct with the children. All those activities have learning objectives, and we have learning objectives matrix for the full year. So what I really want to emphasize here is that playful learning method doesn't mean that there would not be a learning goal for the activities. It's just that the method that it's applied is something that is natural and fun for the children. So in that sense, you know, in the Finnish education and in the HEI curriculum, we're combining those academic skills with the social-emotional skills, and we're doing that in a playful way. So I think that's hopefully puts you as parents at ease that there's a lot of learning happening at ILO together with the Finnish HEI curriculum.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Inkeri. So let's go to another question from ILO Tân Phú. Các trò chơi ở trường có được nghiên cứu khoa học và chứng minh là mang lại lợi ích cho trẻ hay chưa? Play-based activity at HEI Schools and ILO Academy have been researched to bring benefits to children.
Well,
Ms. Inkeri,
yes, like I've mentioned, the HEI curriculum is based on the research on early childhood education that's done in Finland and around the world. For example, Harvard in the US has a whole center dedicated to playful early learning. So it's really a concept that's been researched greatly in the world. And that way I can say that, yes, the concept of research proving that playful methods work the best is there. For example, I can tell an example about language learning. It's been researched that you learn a foreign language like English with the help of textbooks. And it's been compared to playful methods where you combine play and music with the learning. And the research shows that children learn English much better when it's combined with play and music versus with textbooks and pencil.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have quite a lot of questions here. Nếu ngay từ nhỏ con làm quen với phương pháp giáo dục hạnh phúc, không trải qua áp lực học hành, trong khi cuộc sống thực tế là hoàn toàn khác, có phải như thế là xa rời thực tế và không giúp ích cho con trong cuộc đời con sau này hay không? So the next one would be from the early age, children are used to happiness, stress-free education method, while real life is completely different. Is that far from reality and unhelpful in later life? This question comes from the parents of ILO Gov. So Mr. Tony Blacklock, what do you think about this?
Well, first of all, we must remember that early childhood education and care is important in its own right, and it is invaluable in shaping the child into the person that they will become. early childhood education is an opportunity to focus on and support the holistic development of the whole child. This means meeting the child's social, emotional, cognitive, and physical needs, which collectively form the foundation for lifelong learning and well-being. By investing in young children and their education, we will effectively maximize their future well-being and their potential of citizens in society by providing the foundation, strong foundation for later academic progress.
Okay, so Ms. Inkeri, what do you think about this question?
Yes, it's a very good question, and it's very true that life brings a lot of stress to all of us in many different forms and shapes. And I think this is already now like beyond just the education and school world, but overall, as we all need to deal with that stress life brings to us, it's even more important that early on in life, you are already supported in developing your problem-solving skills, that resilience Sisu, Tony talked about, your self-confidence is built from early age, because all those things will help the child to deal with the stresses in their life. So I think even though life will be stressful for all of us, at some point, I don't see any reason why it would help that it's stressful already at young age. And that's why exactly, I think, why we talk about that happy education. We talk about the fact that, you know, the child has the right for good education and they have right to be happy, and that those skills they learn through the happy education will help them later on in the life dealing with all the different stresses.
It's true. When life brings stress to us, so all we have to do is use our problem-solving skill, right? A good self-confidence skill. Okay, yes. So the question number 5. Con tôi rất bướng bỉnh, vì vậy tôi phải gửi đi nhà trẻ để con được uống nắng. Và nếu giáo viên không nghiêm khắc, không trừng phạt, không yêu cầu con học thì làm thế nào dạy được con? So the question is, my child is very stubborn, so I just sent him to kindergarten to be trained. So if teachers are not strict, do not punish him or ask him to learn from the mistakes. So how can they teach children? Mr. Tony Blacklock, would you like to answer this question?
I'm so happy that Inkeri mentioned it earlier on, because there is a phrase highlighted in the HEI Teachers Toolkit that I really, really like. And again, as she's already mentioned, it forms the foundation of everything we're trying to do at ILO, that learning happens all the time and everywhere. Children learn all the time in many different ways and in response to many different circumstances. Our teachers at ILO genuinely care about the children at each campus, and they are experienced in finding out and understanding what interests and engages the children in their class. Our classrooms are an exciting environment that encourage and invite children to explore and use their natural curiosity. Our teachers act as role models, and as such, we insist that they show the children, by their example, the importance of showing love and kindness to each other. This is the environment that we create to help children be happy, safe, and secure. And in my opinion, I think it's the best environment for learning.
Okay, thank you, Tony. How about Mr. Inkeri? Would you like to add more for this question?
Yes, it's a good question, and a question I think we hear at HEI Schools oftentimes people wonder about these difficult situations. In the Finnish positive pedagogy, the emphasis is put on strengthening and rewarding the wanted behavior and ignoring the unwanted behavior. And this is again something the research proves, that when you strengthen the good, you will get more of it. So by ignoring the unwanted behavior, maybe the stubbornness or the I don't want to do this, I don't want to learn, by ignoring that and by rewarding the good, for example, when the child then engages with an activity and tries by rewarding that, you will get more of that. Because if unwanted behavior gets a lot of attention, the attention starts to act as a reward. And as children love attention, they can continue behaving poorly and still receive attention as reward. So in the Finnish pedagogy, we really, as part of the teacher training, we're teaching the teachers to model the wanted behavior, and this way encouraging children to do the same, exactly like Tony said. So,
Okay.
so I think those are the keys.
Okay. Okay, I hope this I have answered the parents' question. And the next question related to the teacher training. Câu hỏi của phụ huynh ILO Gò Vấp ạ. Giáo viên của ILO được HEI Schools đào tạo như thế nào? Có nhận chứng chỉ gì không? How are the ILO Academy teachers trained by HEI Schools? Are there any certifications issued by HEI Schools for ILO teachers? Mr. Tony, this is for you.
All of our local and international teachers have undergone certified practical training using the HEI Teacher Toolkit. So that means that they've received certificates on completion of that training. And that toolkit provides a framework for implementing the best Finnish practices we know, the daily learning content support to support teacher planning. And it also includes continual professional development for our teachers that allows them to continue to develop their knowledge and understanding of early childhood education. In addition to this, our principals and international teachers will complete the HEI Schools Teaching Diploma, which will enable them to further deepen their knowledge of the core components of early childhood education, play-based pedagogy, and the latest research-based materials. So we feel we offer a full and ongoing training to all of our staff at ILO.
Thank you, Tony. Ms. Inkeri, do you want to add to this?
Yes, exactly like Tony said, those are all the things we have been and are doing together with the ILO teaching staff. And also just to emphasize that the HEI Schools Toolkit curriculum that ILO is using, as it provides daily materials to the teachers, by doing that, we're helping the teachers to maintain their skills and strengthen them. So we have full confidence that when teachers are engaged in using the materials, they can really deliver the Finnish early education pedagogy to the children you have at ILO.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Inkeri. There's a lot of questions here. Câu hỏi tiếp theo cũng của ILO Gò Vấp và phụ huynh từ ILO Gò Vấp. ILO tuyển giáo viên theo tiêu chí nào để có thể dạy theo chương trình của Phần Lan? What are the ILO's criteria for teachers to be suitable for Finnish curriculum? The recruitment criteria for Finnish curriculum. Tony, would you like to answer the question?
Well, I already touched on earlier in this webinar about the requisite skills for our teachers in terms of recruitment and development once they join ILO. But I think it's also important to recognize that as the HEI curriculum content is produced in English, our local teachers can access this content both individually and working with their international teaching partner. But it does help that our local teachers have a good level of English language skills. We've already been able to provide the HEI practical training in Vietnamese, and we want to increase access for our local teachers to the diploma program and other aspects of the toolkit as we move forward.
Okay, so another question for you, Tony. Nội dung học tập của ILO có đảm bảo đúng tiêu chuẩn như trường mầm non của Phần Lan hay không? Do ILO materials and toys meet Finnish preschool standards, Tony?
Right, thank you, Ms. Ing. I think that anybody who visited our campus will see that ILO has made considerable investment to ensure that all of the campuses and classrooms are resourced to a very high standard. The quality of these resources enable the teachers to deliver the HEI curriculum in full and to create exciting and stimulating classroom and campus environments that allow our children independence of choice, excitement, and stimulation.
Okay, so another question, very practical from the parents of ILO Tân Phú. Trẻ con chơi với nhau sẽ xảy ra xung đột, đánh nhau. Lúc đó thì giáo viên sẽ xử lý như thế nào? Kỷ luật theo cách của nhà trường là cách như thế nào? When children play together, there will be conflict, and at that time, how will the teacher handle it? How is school discipline like, Mr. Tony?
Well, firstly, it must be noted that on each ILO campus, the children are under constant adult supervision, and any incident that might occur are handled swiftly and safely. We believe it's important for our students to develop positive relationships and a strong understanding of their own emotions and the emotions of others. We have a personal approach to our relationships. We know our students well. Our culture is one of kindness, care, and mutual respect. Our behavior management, as Inkeri has already mentioned, is grounded in positive reinforcement. We focus on what the children do well. When an incident occurs or causes harm or damage to a relationship, the focus is on helping students acknowledge their behavior and reflect on its impact on others. Students are encouraged, even at a young age, to take responsibility for their actions and to work to resolve issues and to repair and restore relationships.
Thank you. Is there any thing that you want to share more in the circumstances like that in Finland, Inkeri?
Well, I think one thing that I can add, Tony had a very comprehensive answer, but maybe one thing I can add is that as the Finnish early education system and the curriculum is based on children working together all the time, the Finnish education is really about group work in many ways. And by working as a group and working all the time together, and when I say working together, I mean by playing together and being together, that really enforces the learning of those important social skills and emphasizing learning the good ways of acting and the wanted ways of acting. And as a mom, I can say that as my son went to preschool in the US, where the learning in his school was a little bit more traditional, and for example, he went to a Montessori school where it was a lot about individual learning, versus when he came to Finland, as a mom, I could really see the benefit of the Finnish system helping to enforce the good wanted behavior together with others.
Thank you, Inkeri. Another question for both of you here. Đích đến của giáo dục hạnh phúc là gì? Tôi vẫn cảm thấy rất mơ hồ từ phụ huynh của ILO Academy Tân Phú luôn, thưa quý vị. What is the goal of happiness education? I still feel a bit confused from the parents of ILO Tân Phú. I would like to ask Tony first.
Well, I have a very short and simple answer. I mean, Inkeri again explained a little bit earlier in this webinar, but for me, it all comes down to individuals. I'm sure we all want to feel happy in what we do. And that is exactly the same for our children. And it is an old adage, but I think it still rings very, very true, that happy children make the best learners.
Thank you, Tony. Ms. Inkeri, you want to add for this to help the parents not feel confused anymore?
Yes, it's basically what it is that you are learning all the important skills, also the academic skills, but you're learning them in a way that makes you feel joyful, happy. You're enjoying the learning process. So it's really about doing things in a way that produces learning outcomes and makes it enjoyable and fun for the children to do it.
Okay, thank you very much. Hope this, answer address all the concerns of the parents about the happiness and the goals of happiness education at the end of the day for the children. Okay, so there is still time for the one last question. I would like to pick one from the attendances question that sent to the organizer. So this question from the parents of ILO Tân Định. Để đồng bộ với cách dạy của nhà trường thì tôi hiểu là ba mẹ cần nghiên cứu về giáo dục Phần Lan. Nhưng còn các thành viên khác trong nhà thì sao? Ví dụ như ông bà, người chăm trẻ thì làm sao để cả nhà hiểu? Cứ để trẻ chơi vì chơi là đang học. Một câu hỏi rất là hay. A very interesting question from Tân Định. In order to synchronize with the school's teaching method, I understand that parents need to study Finnish education. But what about other family members? For example, grandparents, caregivers, etc. How can the whole family understand that just letting children play, because playing is learning? Tony?
Well, again, as when we were discussing the importance of the ILO parents and the homeschool partnership, you know, this extends to all relations and caregivers that the children may have at home. You know, we believe in open communication with all the relevant adults, and we want them to know and understand the importance of their role in the child's happiness and progress at ILO Academy. We have a communications app that includes real-time translation, so if English levels are not quite so high at home, it still allows the international teacher and the homeroom teacher to communicate with everybody who might have a caregiving role for the child at home.
Thank you, Sunny. Ms. Inkeri, do you want to share more?
I think that it's great that ILO is doing all those things, because of course it's the benefit of the child that everybody around him or her understand why play is important, why learning happens everywhere. So in that sense, you know, we always encourage our partner schools to share knowledge with parents, with caregivers, with grandparents, and even as HEI Schools, we have thought about that. You know, we would love to somehow do courses to parents directly. We don't have those yet, but we would love to do it at some point because it is the benefit of the child.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Tony and Ms. Inkeri. We still have a lot of questions here from parents, but due to the limited time, we would like to put an end to the Q&A questions here. So audiences, if you still have more and more questions, you can send the questions to the inbox of the ILO Academy fan page, and we will soon respond to every single question. And I sincerely thanks to Ms. Inkeri Mentzoni and Mr. Tony Blacklove for a very useful conversation, providing practical and valuable information to everyone. And on behalf of the ILO Academy, I wish you full health of happiness. Would you like to share something more to the audiences, Ms. Inkeri?
Well, it was such a pleasure to be here. We love to be part of these parent webinars because, like I have said many times, parents, families, caregivers, everybody is very important in this quest to educate the children. So thank you for having me. It was really lovely to speak with Tony, speak with you, Ms. Ming, and I send my best regards from Helsinki. We still have winter. We still have winter here in Finland. We are so happy that the schools are open in Vietnam. That really makes us very, very happy here at HEI Schools.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, Inkeri. Yes. And how about Mr. Tony? Do you want to say something to the audiences?
Just really to echo what Inkeri said. It was really nice to see her and to chat with her online, and good to see her again. And I hope she's surviving the cold weather in Finland. We have this lovely summer weather outside here in Ho Chi Minh City. I hope also that this webinar has been very helpful, not just to our current parents, but people who might be considering ILO as a school for their children. And whilst we've been able to give a lot of information over this webinar, I think if parents are considering ILO as a choice for their children, the very best way they can see what we can offer is to come and visit one of our campuses. So I hope that some of those parents and families who might be watching will be able to welcome to one of our campuses very, very soon. So thank you very much, Ms.
So thank you very much to the parents who participated in the workshop today. Wishing all families a wonderful weekend. Hope to see you all again in the next workshop. For more information about the workshop series, please be updated on the fan page of ILO Academy. Goodbye and have a good day.